Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Keely and today we are still continuing on our Persian tile blanket journey. So today I want to mix it up a little bit. I still have 5 Persian tiles that I need to make, but I want to try to make some of the granny squares and triangles. And sorry if you hear my dog, he's trying to make himself comfortable. But I want to make some of the granny squares that are part of this blanket. You only need to make 9 granny squares and I think 12 of the granny triangles. And I have already started. Here is the first one. I have not woven in the ends. Kind of the method I'm doing for these, since I already have at least 9 Persian tiles made, I'm kind of going off the color scheme of the tiles just so I can make it a little cohesive and still try to use up some of my scrap. So this granny square goes with this one. And so the colors in the pattern it says to use are the navy, aqua, teal, and the cream. And how that lined up on this tile is here's the navy, that one's the teal, the aqua is the outline right here, and then the cream is this green right here. And so this is what it looks like in square form. And then the next tile that I'm modeling the next granny square out of is this one. And unfortunately for this one, I did run out of the cream color, or the stand-in cream color. So I am going to move on. I'm gonna just leave this here as is. Maybe I'll find a use for it. But the next square we're gonna make is out of this one. So let's get started with that. Alright, so I just finished another square. These only have 7 rounds and it's really easy for me to follow this pattern because the first few rounds are just granny clusters, then you do single crochet, and then you do the treble drop down, kind of like you do for the Persian tile. So this pattern, I've pretty much already got it memorized, so it's going really quickly for me. It's a bonus that I'm using colors from the tile that I've already done. It takes some of the guesswork out of it and I can just go with those colors. And yeah, so now I have a matching granny square to go with this one. So the next one we're going to do is this. And so that's kind of funny. We're using the green again, and then we're using a pale yellow, follow with the this ice pink. Actually, I don't have any more of this ice pink, so I guess I'll just do white. Yeah, let me get the colors together and I think that's what we'll do, because we're going to be using this navy right here for the cream, and then we're going to be using this yellow and the green here, and then yeah, so either orange or white. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, so we have this as an option, or we would do this as an option. I think I like the white more, so I'm gonna go with the white. Here is the finished square. I do still have the ends to weave in, but these squares are working up so quick that I think I can maybe knock out most of them tonight. Here they are together. I think it looks so good. I'm so happy I went with the white versus the orange. Not that the orange would have looked bad, but I think the white just makes the other colors stand out really nicely. So very happy with this one. The next tile I need to model the square after is this one right here. So it'll be these. That is what we're gonna do. So I'm going to get started on this next square. Alright, it has been a few days since I last checked in. I believe I was sharing that I was started to work on some of the granny squares for this blanket, and I have done that. I finished all 9 of the granny squares that you have to make, and I did start on some of the triangles. There's 12 small triangles and then 4 big triangles that you have to make, so I did make one. What I have kind of done for these granny squares is I've taken all the Persian tiles that I've made so far and made a granny square after them. That way it'll take some of the guesswork and time out of running the random wheel generator, because these turned out slightly different anyway. It used the navy, the cream, the teal, and the aqua, I think, to make these squares. So I've got 2 of them that I've woven in all the ends for. And then all the rest I have not woven in the ends. But they turned out pretty good. And then here's the last one. So now I'm just working back again on the Persian tiles. I need to make 5. I've made 1 completely, so I technically have 4, but here's the one that I've made. I do have just a couple ends left to weave in on it, but I will do that later. And then I have worked through some of my stash, and because I've done that, I wanted to add in a couple new colors. So I added in this really nice vibrant purple, and I've started this Persian tile and it's got the purple in it and it's looking really, really nice. That's how far I am on that. That's the 8th round, and then I'm about to start doing the triangles to then smooth out the edges of this. That is where I'm at. I have this one and then 3 more Persian tiles and then all the triangle squares or triangles to do. Here is a little update. I now have 5 triangles done, this being the first one, the second, the third, 4th, and 5th. I do have good news on the yarn usage. So this iced pink right here, I was able to use up all of that. The really light pale yellow, I was able to get rid of all of that. The grass, I had actually 2 cakes, leftover cakes wound up, and I was able to get through one of those, and so I got out my other cake to start using that one. I have finished off all of the pinks in here, so this kind of medium and then the Cupid is really good news. And because I've used up about 3-4 colors, I have added in 2 new colors, and those are being the purple from this Persian tile right here, this nice pretty purple, and then the other color being this like peachy cream color. So I added in those two new colors. The other colors that I'm kind of running low on are this really bright yellow, this orange, and then this green, which is the color lemongrass if I remember correctly. I do have another skein of this lemongrass, but what I'm going to try to do now is just not open any new skeins. So essentially if the color's done, it's done, even if I do have a backup, because I still have 2 more Persian tiles to make, 7 more of these small triangles, and then 4 of the corner triangles, and then we got to connect them all and do the border. Hopefully I can get through a lot more of the yarn than I currently have. But as an update, we are working on our 3rd Persian tile for the week, and this is what the color scheming is looking like. I still am using the random color wheel to generate the colors. I think it's turning out really nicely. I'm gonna keep working on this one. Okay, so we just finished our 14th Persian tile. That means we have 2 more to do. Here it is. I did pretty good keeping up with the ends, but the last few rows I just stopped working on them. There's not that many ends, so it won't be that difficult to weave them in, but I did that on the other 2 that I've done this week as well. It won't take that long, especially because if you see here, I have done quite a few of the triangles and I have not woven in any of the ends for these guys. Here is the last square we were able to get done today. And then the previous one, this one's really nice. I got to work in one of the new colors, and then the first one we were able to do this week. I like this one because this center actually looks like it's a flower with the green and the pink. It looks really nice. Then I was kind of getting tired of working on these Persian tiles and I wanted to make a little more progress. So I did finish, and I think I've already covered this, but I did finish all of the 9 granny squares that you need to make, and I tried to do the colors similar to the Persian tiles that I've already done. So I've kind of modeled them and chose some of the colors from those. And then I have made 6 of the 12 large granny triangles. This was the last one I just finished. Pretty good progress for this week. After this week, this just means I have 2 more Persian tiles, 6 more of these large triangles, and then 4 corner triangles. I then obviously have to weave in all these ends, but after that I can start actually assembling the blanket. So that is really exciting. I think I should be able to get this finished up next week. So I'm hopeful for that. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see y'all in the next one.